Hello, welcome back to Raised by Rain. My name is Stormie, and today I'm going to be explaining the process of hardening off your seed start. As you can see, I have a bunch of plants down here. It's kind of hard to see those ones, but these are all of my tomatoes. They are peppers and a few other random, have a few flowers and whatnot. So over the past 2 days, we've been sitting at roughly 70 to 80 degrees here in zone 5B. I am in central Iowa, and a lot of these plants I started either back in January or February, but that really just depends on your growing season. For me, I don't have a really short growing season, but I also don't have a very long growing season. Right now, it is the beginning of May, so I have May, June, July, August, September, and then October sometimes. It really just depends, but my first frost date of this year will be near the middle of October, so I have that little bit of time to get my plants plugged in. Why is it so important to not just take these plants outside the second that your frost date your last frost date has passed? For mine, it is going to be May 4th, which is today. But the whole reason why you don't want to just put these right outside is these plants, other than for the past 2 days when I've taken them in and out, they have never experienced direct sunlight. They have not experienced wind. In the past, I have put fans down here to help give them a little bit of movement so that it'll help make their stems a little stronger. Right here I have a pumpkin spice jalapeno. So if you can see, it's fairly large. The stem itself is really sturdy. The leaves are looking really good. Actually, a lot of my peppers I've had to go through and pull off some flowers. But like I was saying earlier, the reason why I have to start, especially peppers, so early is because they take quite a long time to grow. I could be mistaken, but I want to say these are about 120 days roughly, give or take, before they start producing any fruit. But on your seed packet, it'll tell you exactly how long you have until you start producing fruit from there. So if I only have less than 200 days out of the year to grow peppers, I want to start these as soon as possible. That's why I started these near the end of January, just for my own growing zone. But also another thing that I found was super helpful, if you just jump online, Google is your best friend. I use the Almanac growing calendar. All you do is plug in your zip code and it'll give you, like mine is the Ames airport. That's what it bases off of for like temperatures and whatnot. So that's how I know when my last frost date and when my first frost date is because of that. So anyways, back to what we're talking about. So yeah, I don't want to just put these directly outside. So over the next week or so, until my temperatures become pretty steady, either in the 70s plus during the day and at least 50 degrees at night, I'm gonna start taking these in and out. Now, there are a lot of guides out there that'll tell you exactly what steps you need to follow. I have done a little bit of everything. I have taken these exact same plants and put them directly in my garden. They'll still give me fruit, but what happens is they become stunted because they're not used to the natural elements of being outside. They're used to, down here it's 68 degrees. Sometimes it gets up to 70 depending on what the weather is, but I'm just in my little basement right now. So it just really depends on the weather that's outside. So yeah, like I was saying, I have definitely just taken these, stuck them right outside, and had some success. It really just depends on the weather, honestly. But what they recommend is hardening off your plants. So past 2 days, what I've been doing is I've been taking them outside anywhere from 4 to 6 hours, but not in direct sunlight. Like I said, don't follow exactly what I'm saying. I'm just saying you'll have to find whatever works best for you. You'll have some years where it works out really well, and you'll have some years where you're like, I should have followed the golden rule of hardening off, which I believe is the first day is only 1 hour, the second day 2 hours, third, so on and so on, until it gets to a point where they are fully sturdy. Now, what I have discovered is I can just put these outside for a handful of hours. We have a picnic table that sits underneath one of our trees slightly, so it gets sunlight, but it doesn't get direct sunlight. So for the first week, that's what I'm going to be doing. So I work in manufacturing, so we use these racks right here. So a few years ago, I was able to take a few of these home. So I have quite a few. That's what I use for my seed starting also. I don't have a brain sometimes where if I'm like, I'm just going to do 1 hour, I know I'm not going to. I know I'm going to forget about them, and I'm going to go and do a bunch of other random tasks and completely forget that, hey, those seedlings out there, they're sensitive. They want to go inside. I'm here to tell you they will be completely fine. As long as you're being mindful and you're not giving them 85 degrees in full sun, they're not going to like that. They're going to be a little upset. What happens is the leaves become almost like sunburnt, like I think it's called sun scalding, and it's the leaves are just not ready for that direct impact of the sunlight. So let me show you. I think these ones are going to be prime example. So these ones, these are some tomatoes. These are hillbilly tomatoes. You notice how they're a little weak because these plants were right on the very edge of my, what is this, 120, I don't know, one of these things. Anyway, it was right on the edge, so it was getting the most impact from the wind, and these are totally fine. These will plant out, no issues, but you can tell that they're really thin compared to these bad boys. Notice the difference. These will be completely fine. These ones are, I think, it says Indigo BC. So whatever those are. Once I go to plant these out completely, I'll look and I'll see what they actually are. But one thing that I am doing a little bit differently this year, if you notice, these are just a bunch of tomato seedlings. So this is how I always start my tomatoes. The ones that I really like, I'll put a whole bunch in here. And then whatever germinates, germinates. And typically in the past, what I do is I take more of these kind of cups and I'll separate these out. Tomatoes, luckily, are very hardy, as you know, as long as you're not breaking them in half and whatnot. But I can completely pop these out. Actually, let me do one really quick. Hold, please. Okay, so what I was saying was these are super sturdy, so I'm just gonna pop these out really quick. I'm probably gonna make a mess, but I'm in my basement and I've got, you know, there's soil everywhere, and it smells like fish emulsion fertilizer down here when I pop that in there. But anyway, okay, so before I show you me taking these out, this is kind of a trial for me. I think they'll be totally fine. I mean, like I said, tomatoes are pretty resistant or resilient. So when I go to actually plant these outside in my tomato beds, that's when I'll separate them. Like I've got enough time where they'll grow big enough. They're pretty sturdy. I mean, I'm not holding on to them. They're wiggling because they're not perfect, but that's okay. These ones, they'll be totally fine. I'm not worried. Anyway, I'll plant those ones a little bit deeper, call it good. Anyway, let me just pop these open really quick. All I'm going to do is I'm going to give that a little bit of squeeze. These right here are the roots hanging out. That's not a bad thing. For the most part, I bottom water so that I don't disrupt any of the soil on the top. And if you see, I also have the soil all the way up to the very brim of this. So I don't have the soil down here. I have it all the way up there. But anyway, I'm gonna just pop these out. Let's see what we get. Maybe. Hold on, I have this little tray right here. Just gonna whack it really good. Perfect. All right, so this is my little cluster of tomatoes. So all I would do, and I'm probably gonna regret one, but we're gonna sacrifice one for the tomato teaching gods. So anyway, I'm going to just take this. I'm just gonna pull it right out. I'm gonna put these right back though, just so they're not too upsetty spaghetti with me. But anyway, so here's my tomato plant. This little ball right here, there's roots in there. They're just holding on to it. This to me is a super healthy tomato plant. The leaves are looking really good. Is it the biggest? No, but it'll be okay. Little dog. My dogs always want to come say hi to me. They're like, ooh, Mom, what are you doing down there? Yes, I know, you're so wiggly. Let me show you. She's so wiggly though. Oh, she's so cute. I love her so much. Her name is Indigo. She's a blue healer. So, you know, just a little punny name. But anyways, so tomato plants. Yeah, the roots down here. So when I go to plant this out, Kevin from Epic Gardening, he did a test, probably like a year ago or so, and he did 3 different tests on how deep to plant your tomatoes. Some he planted all the way up to the very tippy top, and he would remove the leaves, and then this whole portion would be underneath in the soil itself. So you'll see, I don't know if you'll be able to see it on here, maybe if I can catch the, hey, there we go. So there's a bunch of little hairs. For a while, people were thinking those hairs would produce the roots. That's not necessarily the case. What produces the roots, or if you were to feel the side of your tomato plant, is there's these little bumps on there. Those bumps, if those are exposed to soil and water, those will send out the little, the roots, the whole system. So anyways, and then his other method that he did was he just put the whole root underneath the ground. So like this is the ground, this is the soil, and that's how much he planted. And then he did another experiment where he laid it horizontal like this, with only, you know, a few inches of soil on top so that it was closer to the soil. I think what he really found out was if you plant it like this, you get better results. Either way, no matter which way, whatever method you decide to do, you're still gonna get tomatoes. Like, you know, unless something wild happens, like you get, you know, really bad pest or disease or something, then that's a totally different story. But my biggest advice is do not be afraid to make mistakes. Honestly, that's how we all learn. You know, we make mistakes and we fail forward. If you decide to not do those trials and errors and not learn from those mistakes, then you're never going to be successful and you're never going to succeed. So I think it's really important. Now, if this was me 5 years ago, I would be panicking and I'd probably throw this away because I would think, oh, my tomatoes are spent. They're not. They're completely healthy. Are they perfect? No, but they'll still produce fruit. And I'm really excited because I really like the hillbilly. But yeah, so this year I have, probably going to butcher this, but I believe I have roughly 32 to 35 different tomato varieties, and you do not need all that. Let me just tell you that. That is me being over eccentric, and I really like all the different varieties. I just think it's so much fun. And a lot of these varieties are not even just like your typical red tomatoes. They're all different colors, different shapes, different sizes. And for the most part, you can't buy them at the store. And it's kind of like a collection. I've been growing tomatoes for 5 years now. And the one thing that I've really discovered is I want to grow the things that I enjoy. I have gone down the path of growing all, you know, hearty paste tomatoes that will make great sauce. I've gone down the path of only growing, you know, 10 different varieties. And to some, that is a lot, which it is for sure. Right now, if I was to narrow down to 10 varieties, I'd probably have a panic attack because no, I need more. And that's what I discovered about myself is I want to grow all the things. I want to experiment. I want to get my hands dirty and I want to make those mistakes and I want to do all the things. My big thing is I want to share it with people and I want people to be excited about a striped tomato or a green tomato. I don't like green tomatoes, but I think they're cool. I mean, the fact that there are actual tomato varieties that when they ripen, they stay green, but the texture completely changes. I think for the most part, a lot of people have had the fried green tomatoes, totally different texture. You know, that is a tomato that you accidentally knocked off your plant and you're like, well, what do I do with it? Do I throw it in the trash, the compost? or do I slice it up and fry it and eat it? We're gonna slice it up, fry it, and eat it because it's so good. Yeah, I think especially in today's world, in today's life, I think people are two different paths. Either they're afraid to reach out and try those weird things, those different things. You know what I say? Stay weird. There's nothing cooler than being the weird one. And when I bring a bunch of black tomatoes to either my friends or into my workplace, like, they've never seen that before, I'm like, yeah, this is why. Because there's anthocyanins in those, and they're really good for you. And then that might open up somebody else's mind of, what do you mean? I thought all tomatoes were the same. No, honey, you're not. And then there's also the path that people take where they want to embrace being, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not exciting. I mean, that's why we do it, right? Because it brings us joy and excitement. But also it sparks that passion in us as humans and as lovers of things. You know, I love to cook dinner for my family. Creating food for my loved ones, for my friends, like, that just brings me so much joy. And the first thing that I'm doing when I cook them a meal that has a purple tomato, I'm like, how does it taste? How'd you feel about it? Did you like that? You know, because I want to know, because it's cool to me. And I think to a majority of other weird people like the strange stuff. And I don't mean that in any bad way by any means. Like, I have a sticker on my car. My baby dog. I have a sticker on my car that just says "Stay weird." And you know, I'm sure some people look at that and they're like, that no. And I've got some who are inspired by that. So I try to live, not by my bumper sticker by any means, but, you know, to have kind of that different mindset, but not force it. Like, I never want to force anything. I want to be inspired and motivated and all that. Anyway, I don't even know where this video is going. I'm just going on a whole tangent. And I'm sure you can see my messy basement. But yeah, don't mind that. That's why I'm staying here. I'm like, perfection. Messiness. Oh, also another thing. No, I'm not going to show you that. Never mind. Yeah, but okay, so let's, I'll insert some clips from the past day or so with the plants being outside and just how lovely they are. Okay, I hope you enjoyed that. One other thing that I want to bring up that I didn't mention is anytime that you're taking your plants outside to harden off, really important that you give them a good drink of water beforehand, or once you take them outside. Don't take them out there when they're somewhat dry, because they're already uncomfy. Like, they don't want to be in the sun quite yet, or too much. So make sure that you provide them with some sort of water, you know, something. What I've done recently is, like I said, I have fish emulsion fertilizer. Let me show you that. Okay, so do not mind how nasty and dirty this jug is. This is reality, okay? This jug, so I have two of these. I have one that was in my garage tucked away probably for 30 years and I forgot about it. But this sat outside most of the summer, neglected. Let me tell you, she still does exactly what she needs to do. This is the Neptune's Harvest. I swear by this. It is a liquid fertilizer, and it's all organic. It's all natural. It is fish and seaweed fertilizer. It is a 2:1 ratio. So yeah, on the back it has all the information on how to use it. Let me tell you something else. This smells really, really bad. This is not the best smell ever, especially if you leave it outside in the hot sun. I think it does something magical to it. So I was gone for a few days up at Mayo, Minnesota. So gone for a little bit. I did water my tomatoes before I left, but I noticed that they were all really small because like you can see, I have them all in one. They were probably like this big. like roughly this, before I left. So when I watered, I bought years ago. I was heavily influenced. This is so gross. This is one of my fertilizer. It's like a Stanley, but it's glass. It came with lids and straws, but I use it for fertilizing my tomatoes because one of these fills one of my trays perfectly. So anyway, all I did was I just did a little, that's it. I don't measure. I fill this up with water and then I dump it in. When I came back from my little time away, my tomatoes had literally doubled in size, and I'm not even exaggerating. They grew so much. I was so impressed, and I'm like, yes, that nasty fertilizer doing its job. So, where else am I going with this? Fertilize your tomatoes. Fertilize them when they're not looking the best. Don't over fertilize them. Oh, I also want the man down. Something though. Nothing broke. Everything's fine. Everything's good. Anyway, so these are dirty. I just throw random stuff in here. Anyway, these are the Bootstrap Farmer. What are they? Are they 90/20? I don't know. You know, they're the same tray size as all the ones else you can buy. But I have neglected these. I'm a bad plant mom. It seems to just run in my veins of neglecting the nice things that I have. But they're super cute. And I bought the, like, way too many because I don't use them all. But I bought, like, the massive pack of those trays and these cups as well. But these are the colors they come in. Aren't those just so lovely? I mean, they're purple, green, orange, blue, and then I have just the black ones too. But like I said, I've neglected these. I have yet to have one break or crack. So yeah, that's what they look like. Like I said, I don't wash them out. You know, if I go to use them for next season, I'll just knock out the dirt, probably in a tray just like the one I showed you. I mean, that's probably what that is. But yeah, definitely, let me just say this also. If you're working on a budget, definitely don't splurge on those things. You can literally use anything. You can use those metal baking pans to start your seeds. You can soil block. That is a really awesome way. I don't personally do it, but I have in the past. I think I grow too much and I am just too neglectful to maintain that. But yeah, there's so many options. You can use red solo cups. Jess from Roots and Refuge in Maya, she used recycled party cups from parties that she went to, and she asked all of her friends and family if they could just save them for her, and then she used those to plant her seeds. I mean, that is so smart. Drill some holes in the bottom for drainage, call it good. Like, you don't have to do anything fancy, but if you want to get some pretty ones, and if you have a little bit of extra moolah to splurge, or if you don't, that's fine too. Definitely the Bootstrap Farmer ones are super good quality, and they're made here in the USA, which, if that's important to you, I mean, that's a plus in my books. I know Epic Gardening also has some really awesome ones. I don't have any, but I always see the videos and I'm like, man, if I didn't have the Bootstrap Farmer ones, I would definitely get those ones. Maybe I'll get, like, you know, one little container of them just to say I have them. I don't need them, but yeah. So anyway, I think that's where I'm going to cut this video. It's been long. I've been chit-chatting way too much. The lighting in here is strange, so I do apologize for that. Maybe I could, like, block that out next time. I don't know. But yeah, thank you for joining me today and listening to me rant and rave. I'm definitely going to be posting some more videos about the how-to, and yeah, I look forward to it. My one advice that I always give, don't be afraid to get your hands dirty.